Intangible traditions make up a considerable proportion of cultural creative arts. Whether it be song, dance, storytelling, or other such non-object-based art forms. These arts require no specific physical materials, only imaginative creativity and learned tradition. It was perhaps for this reason that these arts were prominent among those experiencing cultural oppression or hardship. These intangible artistic expressions often serve to strengthen, to lift spirits, or to be a cathartic diversion. For the Ho-Chunk community at the Portage, the oral stories of both folklore and history were also a time-tested means of communication since antiquity. In the 1830s, Juliet Kinsey observed,
"The Indians are exceedingly fond of narrating or listening to tales and stories, whether historical or fictitious. They have their professed storytellers, like the Oriental nations, and these go about from village to village, collecting and admiring an attentive audience. It is in this way that their traditions are preserved and handed down. The women are more fond of fiction, and some of their stories have a strange mingling of humor and pathos."
For others at the Portage, the requisites of employment dictated a lifestyle with scant possessions, much less physical arts. For French and Métis voyageurs, intangible arts filled the gap. The paddling songs of the voyageurs who transported canoes and cargo across vast stretches of waterway made the arduous journeys more light-spirited, strengthening the rowers to enable them to keep perfect time with their oars.
The Canadian boatmen always sing while rowing or paddling, and nothing encourages them so much as to hear the bourgeois take the lead in the music. Their songs are of a light, cheerful character, generally embodying some little satire or witticism, calculated to produce a spirited, sometimes an uproarious chorus. The Canadian melodies are sometimes very beautiful, and a more exhilarating mode of travel can hardly be imagined than a voyage over these waters amid all the wild magnificence of nature, with the measured strokes of the oar, keeping time to the strains of La Rose Blanc or En Roulant ma Boule. The voices of Frenchmen can never keep tune unless their oars can keep time.
For the enslaved and indentured community at the Portage, these non-physical arts took on a particular importance. Where traditional African arts were not allowed, the rich arts of storytelling and song were treasured. The Kinsey's African-American servant Louisa spent time enjoying the creative and often humorous stories told her by Uncle Ephraim, another servant of the Fort Winnebago settlement. Juliet did not quite understand the roots of what she heard from Louisa, but she described fragments of these tales secondhand.
"Is it true," asked Louisa one day, "that Pion and Planty were once prairie wolves?" "Prairie wolves! What an idea! Why do you ask such a foolish question?" "Because Uncle Ephraim says they and all the Frenchmen about here were once prairie wolves, and that living so near the white people, they grow, after a time, to be like them, and learn to talk and dress like them, and then, when they get to be old, they turn back into prairie wolves again, and that all the wolves that the officers bait with their dogs used to be Frenchmen once."
Today's topic offers no artifacts for posterity for obvious reasons. Rather, we conclude with a perspective on these intangible arts by Dr. Janice Hamlet of Northern Illinois University.
During the devastation of enslavement, African peoples were intermingled and forced to abandon their homeland, indigenous languages, native rituals, and traditions. Yet, despite efforts to suppress, many enslaved people were able to maintain a shared and unifying element of their oral tradition. The enslaved communicated their hopes, fears, and ideas through story and song. The oral tradition became not only a means of communication, but also expressed personal presentation, verbal artistry, and commentary on life's circumstances. Consequently, African Americans became heir to an oral culture, one they could not write down, but one they created, crafted, personalized, and shared with each other and their offspring.